Welcome and glad to have you. Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show. Hour number 1 for many of you on the network. Saying hi to our friends out there at WKTY in La Crosse, our friends at PVL in Platteville. Glad to have you on board. Friends in Rice Lake. Love to have you here. Eau Claire. Can't say thanks enough to our friends at the mighty WMAM in Marinette, Menominee. Glad to have you on board as well. So good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670, and also saying hi to all of you that follow us very quickly over there on the Bud Light live stream. We are glad to have you on board and watching the program as well. Beautiful day outside today. Warm, hazy, hot, humid, all that kind of good stuff all throughout the week and into the weekend, which you know what this weekend is, Ben, right?
I don't. What is it?
Jimmy Buffett coming up Saturday night.
Oh, I think that's a Grant Bills thing.
I know for a fact that the Grand Poobah and Emperor and Wizard of the Midwest Family Broadcasting Company, Tom Walker, is going to the concert. I think you should probably walk down the hall, see Tom, say, Tom, I need an extra pair of tickets. And you and Grant Bills join us and come on out and enjoy the party and see what the hoopla is all about. I think that's what you should do. If you get 4 or 5 tickets, bring Ebo and Rowdy and them with you.
Yeah, it'll be like a 4th grader in Calc 2 in college. I just have no idea what is going on.
Because this is right up Ebo's alley. He just loves a walking party where you can have.
I think that's exactly why I shouldn't go.
See, he loves the walking party. You just put a drink in your hand and off you go. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's just my sense, but this would be right up Ebo's alley. Music notwithstanding, it's just an absolute farm field party is what this is, with margaritas instead of beers. So just throwing it out there, coming up this Saturday. Alpine Valley, that's where you can find it. Brewers limp into the All-Star break. Williams is added to the All-Star roster. Corbin Burns says, nah, baby, nah. Josh Hader going to spend some time with the family. Rightfully so, after having a couple of issues and some blow-ups over the weekend, and he has not performed at peak performance, we'll say, over the last couple of outings. So he's going to go home and regroup and spend some time with the newborn and such and kind of recenter himself. So I understand all of that. In the meantime, the Brewers now start thinking about different moves that could be made, certain players they could go after. We're going to talk with Kevin Holden from CBS 58 coming up here at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk with him about some of this as well. The Brewers losing 8 of 11 overall. They're 18-24 since June 1st. To say they limped into the All-Star break would be an understatement. Just not happening. It's you can put your finger on many different things. It's not one. It's not just one thing. Some people want to blame Counsell. He's ultimately responsible. Okay, I get it. Others say, well, it's got to be David Stearns. Hasn't put enough talent on the field. Mark Attanasio hasn't spent enough money. You look at a guy like Christian Yelich. They're paying him to hit 280 and pop 35 home runs. He's got 8 on the season. Which, by the way, do you think Christian Yelich, where he stands right now, Ben, is going to reach the 15 plateau?
Ooh, honestly, yes. Just so I can be on the right end of that take.
Right.
But I think my confidence overall is just waning. So I woke up today pretty pessimistic. So I'll say yes, just for the sake of me being right about something.
Man, it's if he does eclipse the 15 home run plateau, he will barely be breathing across the finish line. That is that home run mark that we set at the beginning of the season, where I said he doesn't look right. Doesn't look like he's hitting the ball. Now he has hit the ball better. So give Christian Yelich a lot of credit for where he's at right now. Okay. I'll give him that. Not a spectacular way to end, but nevertheless, he did hit the ball. He was 3 of 11 in his last 7 games. 3 of 11. And so at home, he hits a little bit better than he does on the road. We know that. But for the most part, It is what it is. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. When you look at Christian Yelich going throughout the month of July, he is 9 of 40, hitting .225 with a .380 on base percentage, .325 slugging percentage, and a .705 OPS. Not the numbers you were hoping for. You thought, okay, here we go, busting out of it. Let's do this. And it just hasn't materialized the way you had hoped, the way you thought it would. Because remember, he had at one point, he had a pretty good hit streak per game going on. And then it just, kind of has fallen off. He had 2 hits yesterday. Nice way to end it, at least on a little bit of a high note. He took his average from 248 to 251. And his OPS from 723 to 726. But still. So going back to the original point, Christian Yelich in the numbers, not where you want him to be. So when you talk about this team overall, Rowdy Tellez, big power numbers, 18 dingers on the season, 57 RBIs. He leads the team in total bases, 68 strikeouts, 30 walks, not a bad way to go. But batting only .227, .305 on base percentage, slugging percentage of .458, which is good, .763 OPS. He's got a positive WAR number, but it's only .4. Still .227. Again, all or nothing. Andrew McCutchen's been pretty solid. Willie Adames leads the team in dingers. 19 of them on the season. 19 home runs. Yeah. 14 doubles. 19 home runs. 51 RBI. 132 total bases. 85 strikeouts to 28 walks. On base percentage, sub 300 at .294 and an average of .220 with an OPS of 771. Now, many of you will look at the 771 OPS and go, that's awesome. But it's also not indicative of what actually is happening, which is it's all or nothing. With a .220 batting average, minimal amount of walks, it's all or nothing. He's hitting a home run or he's striking out. Pretty much. Colton Wong, .227. Luis Urias, .223. Hunter Renfroe, at least .243, but he's been banged up more often than not, and he gives you a 1.8 WAR. Tyrone Taylor, .228. Jace Peterson, .252. He's one of your better hitters. Omar Narvaez, .236. Lorenzo Cain's not even here anymore. Victor Caratini, .244. You get the point. There's nobody that's consistently hitting. Keston Hiura is now known as Yo-Yo because he's up and down consistently. Can't hit in the majors, beats the hell out of the ball in the minors, gives you a couple of home runs, but can't do it with any kind of consistency in Major League Baseball. Just can't do it. Although his numbers are better than some of the other everyday starters. When you take the power numbers of 8 home runs, 17 RBI, .238 batting average, .354 on base percentage, .451 slugging percentage. At least his OPS is .805. But I think we could all agree that an .805 OPS with Keston Hiura is a far cry. I mean, he's second on the team, really, technically, even though Brousseau's played third base and only played 39 games. Keston Hiura's got .805 OPS, leads the team in OPS. But still, as you look at Keston Hiura, you're like, that guy's an all-or-nothing guy. He doesn't belong in the major leagues. Right? That's what we would all say. So what to do? What do you do? This team, flat out, it's all or nothing and can't hit with any consistency. It's that simple. That's it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's go to Dave. Dave, welcome to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. What's going on, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Oh, good. A little disappointed with the Brewers. I mean, it's the same thing every year. You know, this has gone back to what, 2017?
Well, probably before that.
Struggled with him. We have struggled, mightily. Yeah, but this is when they first started really breaking out, you know, being at the top of their division.
Right.
Okay. But we still have trouble finding our bats. And it isn't just one hitter. We shouldn't be going after just one bat. You know, we've done that before. Jonathan Scope, You know, that
Mhm.
was a bust.
Right.
Jackie Bradley Jr., I think he ended up in the season, his batting average was like 193.
Yeah, it was sub 200.
And then Eduardo Escobar. I mean, he showed a lot of promise until postseason. All of a sudden, he can't hit.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be hitting philosophy. Is it that they're asked to stand up there too long at the plate and look at a lot of pitches?
I don't know what specifically, because they've changed hitting coaches numerous times. It's not like they're sticking with the same coach. They're trying to bring in different voices.
That's what I mean, but it's the manager who sets the philosophy, not the hitting coach.
Right.
See, the hitting coach merely tries to mirror what the manager wants. And how many times have you seen the Brewers stand up there and get 2 strikes and then have to battle back, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they either end up striking out or walking. And I've even heard counsel say that, hey, a walk nowadays is a base hit.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So it tells me that in the back of his mind, he wants to chase that starting pitcher, build up pitches on him so he can get to the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working. It hasn't worked. We've taken all these guys who have been big hitters, Scope, Bradley Jr., Escobar, and we've made non-hitters out of them.
I can't argue with it because this team is, I mean, just the numbers speak for themselves. It's a bad hitting baseball team.
Renfroe was, I mean, you know, he replaced Garcia out in right field, who was an excellent hitter. You know?
Right.
And Renfroe isn't hitting like he used to.
No, but he's also been banged up.
Right. But I mean, you know, and that's and there's another thing, you know, his philosophy about this platooning, right hand, left hand,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when a guy starts hitting, when he starts really showing promise at the plate, all of a sudden he's not playing.
Right.
Because the pitcher happens to be right-handed.
I know that this team and the way they do it is trying to put guys in the best position to be successful, statistically speaking, and they've had a lot of success doing it. They just haven't had consistency when it comes to winning in the postseason. How you get from point A to point B, I think people at this point are just saying, I don't care anymore. You want to know what you're going to be like in the postseason. And if I had to sit here today and I had to look at this team and say, what shot do they have to win in the postseason? I don't think they have any shot. I think they're going to really, I mean, if they end up as a wild card, or playing against a wild card team, I think they're going to struggle. Yeah, I really believe that.
We're
and
going to be lucky if they end up as a wild
and
card.
you do get the honor of then playing the Mets or the Dodgers, you're going to get the hell beat out of you because you can hit with those teams.
Right. And the one thing that really, really frustrates me is we have such good pitching from top to bottom.
For the most part, yeah.
And we're just wasting it.
Yeah.
You know, we're wasting it.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Woodruff is going to go somewhere else when he gets a chance.
And that's what sucks. I talked about that earlier. That's what sucks because if you're going to have all this homegrown talent, you finally got pitching that you've been trying to grow throughout your system for a long time, just to watch them all leave, you got to make choices. Then what are you doing? You're nothing more than a developmental team for other Major League Baseball teams. Now, you're not a Juan Soto situation turning down over $440 million, but still, I mean, if you're going to develop these guys and you can't keep them, then what are you doing?
Right. His contract comes up first, Woodruff's. He's going to be the first one gone. He'll end up with the Mets or Atlanta or LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Somebody's going to pay him big money.
Yep. I agree. So that's why you have to make the decision as to whether or not to trade him. But I see, like people say right now, you need to trade Josh Hader. I don't agree because all you're going to do is weaken your bullpen. And unless you're getting back a big bat, and we've seen big bats, we've seen Bryce Harper, we've seen Mike Trout. Ohtani can throw an amazing game, and they still don't win. One bat does not make a team. Pitching will win you a lot of championships, and I'm not a big fan of just dumping pitching just to get a position player, just to get something for him because you might lose him. I'm not a big fan of that. Not right now, anyway.
Right. The thing that I look at with batting is how many times have you watched or heard a game when we've had the bases loaded, nobody out or one out, and we cannot put a run across.
Right. I agree with. Even a safety squeeze just to get yourself a run. I mean, anything at this point.
Oh, you can slam the ball to the other side of the diamond, and force in a run, forcing to throw the first, But,
part of the problem is, and this is what I believe, I appreciate the phone call. Part of the problem is that you cannot, once guys are Major League Baseball players, they're here. You're not teaching them anything. Because we talk all the time about, well, they teach them to hit. They need to practice this thing. You're not. That you just don't do it. And for managers day in and day out to say, it's got to be the right situation because, well, as a Major League Baseball player, aren't you supposed to be polished in all aspects of the game? Aren't you supposed to be a pretty good fielder? Aren't you supposed to be a pretty good hitter? Aren't you supposed to be a pretty good situational guy? Aren't you supposed to understand the game itself? And when you don't, when you can't, you're not a big league player. Now, some guys are better at certain things than others. I understand that. And I'm not talking about always dropping down bunts or always manufacturing runs. I'm not talking about that. But what I am saying is when you got a team that's struggling and you're scrapping for wins, you come up with either bases loaded or runners in scoring position on a consistent basis and you can't get them in and you look pathetic doing it. There's something to be said for that. For just playing the ability of fundamental baseball. I don't know. Maybe I'm peeing into the wind here. Doesn't do me any good. By the way, going back to Jackie Bradley Jr., he was good when the Brewers got him in 2020 playing for Boston. He ended up hitting 283, but before that, he was never a guy that was lighting it up. I mean, his best year prior to that was 2016. He ended up hitting 267 with an OPS of 835. But when he got to the Brewers, I get what you're saying because he hit 163 and 202 in the year.
Well, he had that eye situation.
He had astigmatism, right?
I believe so.
Is what they found in his eye. Couldn't see. Kind of like Wild Thing in Major League. Major League. Couldn't see the plate until he finally got glasses, and then he became a hell of a pitcher. Although Jackie Bradley Jr. still is not, lighting the world on fire. Just an FYI. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. More of the Bill Michaels Show is coming up right after
Want to make your summer even better? Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. To win, play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. Summer is even better at Potawatomi.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Hey, coming up on Sunday, September 4th, we are now full on push as tonight at 6 o'clock, we are going to do a Facebook Live coming up tonight in reference to all of the details regarding the motorcycle ride coming up in our 15th anniversary ride for Fisher House, Wisconsin. And if you have not signed up yet, you're a motorcyclist enthusiast, or maybe you know someone who is, you can see it right now on the Bud Light live stream. You can scan the QR code and get registered. Otherwise, you can get registered. Simply go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run, facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Or if you want to go directly to the Fisher House page, go to fisherhousewi.org, fisherhousewi.org, and click on the events page and scroll down to the Big Unit Poker Run and get signed up. We are going to give all the details tonight. So looking forward to it. Again, Sunday, September 4th, we are going to ride. We are hoping to break our record, which was 767 bikes last year. We're looking to push over 800 this year. And the ride itself, because of the amount of bikes and participation that we have and we've anticipated, we've got a really, really, really neat layout for you this year. And we're going to give you all the details tonight at Facebook Live. So follow us over on Facebook. Again, facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run, facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run, and find it there. Thanks so much to our friends at Growth Law Firm, GROTH, growthlaw.com. Protecting bikers' rights. They came on board again this year as a big-time sponsor. Our friends from Great Lakes Dragaway. Great Lakes Dragaway, they had a big weekend last weekend, too. A lot of fun down there, from what I understand. I didn't make it down. Obviously, was on vacation, but really good stuff at Great Lakes Dragaway. And a couple of people over the last couple of weeks have actually rented out the track for them and their friends, racing some motorcycles and some vehicles. They had a big car show down there, too. Also, our friends at the Rock Complex, Alpine Valley, Potawatomi Hotel Casino. And Potawatomi actually is going to have dealers on hand at the end of the ride. But Potawatomi Hotel Casino, thanks to them for joining us this year. Our friends from Buzzard Billy's out in La Crosse, who stepped up and said, you know what? We want to be a part of it. We got a lot of riders that come into Wisconsin and into Milwaukee from the western portion of the state and just beyond the borders that listen for the ride and for the hometown rally weekend. We want to be a part of it. So thanks to our friends at Buzzard Billy's. Some fine fare downtown La Crosse. And I'm sure Grant Bills has probably been kicked out of that establishment on numerous occasions because they are a fine establishment, and Grant Bills is Grant Bills. So, I'm kidding. Grant's a good guy. Good dude. So by all means, thanks to Buzzard Billy's and everybody else involved with the ride. But again, go to fisherhousewi.org and get signed up, get pre-registered, or follow for all the announcements coming up tonight. Go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run, facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. And tonight at 6 o'clock, we are going to go live, and we are going to do some Facebook Live stuff tonight and answer a lot of your questions. So looking forward to that. Let's go back to the phone calls, talking some Brewers baseball. Let's go to Mike listening to us in West Dallas. Mike, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm doing good. How's it going, Bill?
I'm doing extremely well. I wish the Brewers were doing as good as I am, because right now they're limping into the All-Star break.
Yep, that's very true. Some recent heartbreaking losses. But bottom line, I agree with a lot of what you've said. And I think, Dave was a great call as well. But I do disagree with you on one thing. I think a big bat would make a huge difference on this baseball team. And we have to look no further than last season, Bill. Do the Brewers make the playoffs without trading for Willy Adames and without him playing like an MVP for a couple?
No, I completely agree with that.
Okay.
But at the time, though, but remember this, at the time, was Willy Adames a big deal?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
He wasn't, but the bottom line is they would not have been. I know they didn't advance past the first round last year, but they wouldn't have made the playoffs without him.
Right.
Now, I know it's different sports, but did the Rams win the Super Bowl without trading for Von Miller and then picking up OBJ mid-season?
Completely agree with you.
Did the Bucks win the NBA Finals without trading for Drew Holiday and trading 3 first-round picks for him?
Nope. I agree with that, too. But tell me this. Here's the thing. Right. And let me ask you this, okay? And when I talk about one bat, you can get a big bat that can make a difference in your lineup. That I agree with. But what I'm saying is I don't see them making a big splash trade. What I see them doing is trying to find 1 or 2 guys like a Willie Adames, the diamond in the rough, the guy that's going to come in and maybe overperform and give you that little shot of adrenaline. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not, the Nationals are now looking to make deals for Juan Soto, who has decided he is not going to take the 15-year, $440 million. They're not going after Juan Soto. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up Juan Soto. That's just what I was getting to, actually, is who I want the Brewers to get. Because you have Woodruff and Burns under contract for 2.5 years. I know that Soto's just going to be a rental, but he's under team control for 2.5 years.
Right.
I'd be willing to give up the Brewers' top 4 prospects in a trade and maybe even a pitcher for Juan Soto, because I think he would make a huge difference in that lineup, and especially while you have those 3 aces on your pitching staff. I really think that you need to go for it, and I think they could afford him as well, because Kane, his contract's coming off the books at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So is Colton Long, and basically that's your placeholder for Juan Soto's arbitration years for his contract.
I would not. First of all, I would love it if they would do it. The likelihood of them doing it, I think, is few and far between. I agree with you.
Yeah,
if that would, to me, be the indicator saying, look, we know we're only going to get him for a couple of years, but we're going for it. Here we go. And then you're going to be able to trade them away for maybe a boatload even after the fact. But I don't see them doing it, unfortunately.
Sure. No, I know it's a total long shot. Even if they don't get him, they need to get a significant bat, because right now I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs, to be honest with you. I don't think the Cardinals are going to play this poorly all season. I think they're a lot more talented than what they've shown thus far. And I think the Brewers, if they don't win this division, I think they're in real danger of missing the playoffs altogether, with the way they're hitting right now.
I agree
especially
with
with not having, who's their third pitcher again? That he's on the DL.
Freddie Peralta.
I remember his name. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And especially, with him not being out there as well. So bottom line, they need to go for it. They need to make a big move. I don't care if they give up prospects. We've all seen the Keston Hiras, the Lewis Brensons, the Corey Rays. You don't know what any of those prospects are going to turn out to be. But we know what Juan Soto is, and we know what some of those other guys in the market are as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would love to see it. I appreciate the phone call and love the optimism. I would love to see that happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying do it. But the likelihood of them doing it is what I'm saying, is that I don't think it's going to happen. I hate to be the big bucket of cold water. What do you need more? Do you need another arm? Or do you need a bat? And some will say you need both. And if you need both and big time contributors, then there's no way you're going to be able to just completely deplete your farm system and dump it for 2 players that may or may not put you over the top. I want to see them do it. I want to see them go for it. You got to be smart about your future. I get all of that, but I agree with Mike. Look, we have seen a lot. I mean, go back to the years of Nick Neugebauer, who was supposed to be the bomb, coming in as a terrific arm, and they were going to have this homegrown pitcher, and he was going to be the man. And we have seen so many over the years that were supposed to be these just top-notch, incredible players that the Brewers drafted, and they just never materialized. Never happened. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. Coming up next, Kevin Holden, CBS 58, going to join us right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Warm summer nights, cool beverages, and that smell coming from the grill. Steaks, chops, dogs for the kids. There's nothing better than a relaxing cookout. Where does it all start? Heaven? No. Pasture-raised beef from a second-generation Wisconsin family-owned farm. Better yet, how would you like the best beef delivered right to your doorstep? To see all that they have to offer and to place your order, go to ScholzeFamilyBeef.com. That's SCHOLZE FamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. Hey, don't forget about our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Still a lot of riding season left, and we're only halfway through, as a matter of fact, and some of you ride damn near all year round. Get yourself motor clothes, motorcycles. Check out the events page. There is so much going on at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson right there on 67, just south of 94 in Oconomowoc, and you can also check them out right there next to the new Dockhound Stadium, as a matter of fact. But stop in. I was talking to Craig this morning, Craig Winger, their general manager over there. I was talking with him. I'm going to be out there later today and kind of getting all the details finalized for the motorcycle ride. I'm really looking forward to it. But that is going to be our landing spot, as a matter of fact, for the motorcycle ride again this year. That's Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Go to wishd.com. That's wishd.com for all the event information. Again, go to wishd.com. Joining us now on the hotline, our good friend from CBS 58, Kevin Holden, is here. Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
Bill, it's all good, man. We're my wife and I have done. I know this is going to be a shocker to you, but we have taken the week and we've bolted. Instead of hanging around for the All-Star break, we are seeing some of the most obscure and random stadiums out west. So currently we're in Denver, not so obscure, but tonight, Laramie, Wyoming, very obscure.
I was going to say, because I saw you guys were at Coors Field, right?
Yeah, we actually caught up with a former colleague, Christina Tuso, was with us yesterday for Rockies Pirates. Yeah.
Okay, so I saw that. I saw you guys were there. I saw you were at the Kingfish game. Were you there when A.J. Dillon ran over the mascot?
Oh no, I saw the video of that. That was amazing. It wasn't our first game was actually a team in Kansas. The color scheme was really similar though to the Kingfish. I get it. I was the Hayes Larks in Kansas. It's a town in Kansas I never even heard of before this trip. So I guess I'm expanding my horizons, if you call it that.
Well, let's get into the nuts and bolts of the ugliness, and that is that the Milwaukee Brewers basically limped into the All-Star break. I don't know what necessarily to make of all of it, other than the fact that it is what we thought it was. It's a team that's all or nothing. They hit home runs or they don't. They're not real good at station-to-station play. The pitching is what's been the most reliable, and that is starting to falter. So where is this team right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's interesting, too, Bill, because this team has struggled going into the All-Star break in previous years, too, and I'm not using that necessarily as an excuse for the play that they had leading into the break this year. But that's a very odd pattern, an interesting pattern, because the Brewers are, mindful, very mindful, and its pitchers and position players are very mindful of giving guys rest during the season, giving guys days off during the season, keeping them, close to full strength. So you can't say that, after 3 or 3.5 months or whatever, of bringing guys out there every day that they started to wear down. That's not it. They rotate out enough guys that shouldn't be the case. So that to me is a fascinating thing that I don't have a really good explanation for. But in terms of this team in general, I think when they come back, it's got to be the same, the same focus. Starting pitching, you got to have health. You hope that you get Freddie Peralta back. You hope that Brandon Woodruff hangs on and is okay and doesn't run into any more problems, and that Corbin Burns stays where he is. That's got to be your baseline, because like you said, I don't think the offense, I think their best hope right now is to be an opportunistic type of offense, one that, can scrape together runs here and there and find ways to score runs. And if they do, put 3 up and they only allow 1 or 2, then that's how you win. That's got to be the way they do this right now, unless there's a major trade at the deadline. So health in the pitching realm, and just, it doesn't have to be the most hits, but the most clutch hits maybe in the hitting realm has got to be their key from here.
You talked about the possibility of a major trade. How much, or if at all, do you think there will be the possibility of a major trade? Or do you think it's bringing in a couple of hopeful diamond in the roughs like we've seen in the past? Try not to completely deplete your farm system. Just try to find a couple of guys to maybe give you a little bit of a spark. Or do you think there is a major deal to happen?
Yeah, I think the chances are better than not that there won't be a major deal. I think that's probably where this is leaning, and it has a little bit to do with how David Stearns operates, but also a lot to do with the trade market as it balances with what the Brewers need. The unfortunate thing for the Brewers this year is the two positions that stand out when you talk about what they could use bats that would slide in and play well would be third base and center field. Like last year when they went and got Eduardo Escobar, there's a tremendous addition to this team in the second half of the season and a guy who slid into a position really, really well. I don't think that's necessarily the case this time around because if you're going to make a trade for a center fielder, you need a center fielder with a bat, specifically a center fielder that can help sustain an offense. And there are just not a lot of those available on the trade market. I see a couple of names that would be interesting pickups for this team, but also I don't know if the trade market is right for it. Brian Reynolds would be a great pickup. He's a guy that's been killing the Brewers in his short career. I don't think the Pirates have any interest in trading Brian Reynolds at this point in his career when he's still, making basically minimum money when he's, the Pirates they don't have to pay him a lot and they're still getting a lot of production out of him. So the fit is part of the problem. And it's part of the reason why I think David Stearns will find guys to get. I think he's always looking for a bullpen arm, and I almost guarantee you that's going to happen. But, in terms of an earth-shattering pickup for the offense, I just don't know if that bat is there. And if it is, I just don't know if David Stearns is ready to pull that trigger.
And the question then is, okay, let's say they do pull or at least have the ability to pull a deal for a major bat. Will one bat help?
Because it does look like a bigger problem, doesn't it?
Right.
It looks like something that should go for, you need a revamp of 3 or 4 positions in the lineup. I mean, I think one of the things that could happen is one very good impact bat can change what happens in other spots in the order. If you get a guy that's in the 5 hole, for example, and you've got Hunter Renfroe comes back and healthy and he can bat 4th, and you've got other bats that can fill around it. I think that one bat helps everybody else a little bit. It puts them in different spots in the order. But honestly, if you're talking about an offense, just independent of the pitching staff, if you're talking about an offense that you want to have the Brewers compete for the National League pennant, I think a couple of things have to happen. If you get an impact bat, that is one really big step. But somebody else has got to step up from where they were, whether that's Yelich, getting somewhere back to the Yelich that you knew from 2018, 2019, whether that's Hunter Renfroe being healthy every day, being that 35-40 homer guy in the middle of the order. Somebody else has to come in. So it's acquiring an impact bat, and it's having someone already in your house turn back into an impact bat. Then you got a shot at something. But if it's one impact bat in the same order that it is, it gets better. It does not make them one of the better offenses in the National League, though.
Talking with Kevin Holden, CBS 58. You can find him on Twitter at 321QKevin, and pretty much find him in almost any major league obscure ballpark or minor league obscure ballpark throughout the country at any point in time. That being said, the start yesterday and the way things went with Ashby and Alexander, and I know they're trying to piecemeal things together. Everybody saw it coming. They talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast. Smart move, knowing you needed to get that one yesterday to give yourself a little momentum going into the break, or is it just because it's baseball, you're only as good as the next day's starter and you needed the break anyway? I'm not going to say it was a throwaway game. It was just one of those games where you didn't want to waste a bunch of arms and great outings, but you're going into the All-Star break and guys are going to get rest. Did you agree with yesterday?
As a manager, and by the way, I've managed a softball team for a couple of games once in my life, so I am not anywhere near the same comparison as Craig Counsell when it comes to being a manager. But maybe in video games, I would push guys a little bit. If you knew you had a little bit of a break ahead, you can give that little burst of energy. It's like being on the treadmill that last minute. It's the last minute, and you get a break after that, so you can give it a little bit extra. I feel like that's a logical way to go about approaching it. I also don't know. We're talking about the history of arms, or guys that needed rest, guys that haven't been feeling right, that kind of thing. There's a lot of factors that I don't know, but on the surface, the first thing you think is, this is when you might, if you have 110 in you and you're giving 100, maybe 110 for this game works because you can recharge the batteries after.
Before I let you go, Kevin, so like you had alluded to, we've talked about this team traditionally, historically, in recent history has not performed well in the last couple of weeks of the first half of the season. So what do we expect for the second half of the season?
This team, that the interesting thing is that the pattern has been almost exactly the same. They struggled a bit going into the break, and then the Brewers find something in that second half, especially early in that second half of the season. Coming out of the All-Star break, going into August, as these games heat up, they find a way to win games. And there's a fair amount of talent on this roster. I'm about to sneeze there. I'm a little hoarse. I've been screaming for Daniel Vogelbach, so I don't have my full voice. When you have a team like this that's got this much talent, and you feel like maybe they haven't quite done what they should have done offensively, this would be the time where you would catch that correction. After the All-Star break, guys will heat up. You get a couple of hitters that start to carry the team. And, I mean, that's a tough thing to bet on, but I would say if there's a team that you would bet on in that way, it's the Brewers, because despite the struggles that they've had, you look at their roster, you look at the Cardinals roster, you look at other rosters around the league, this Brewers team should be in the mix. And I still think, even with a trade for just one more bat, they're still in that mix. They could get hot in October, win a couple of series, and find themselves right there at the cusp of a pennant. But that does have to start quickly. They can't be slow out of the gate in July and the first half of August and then flip it on for the last 40 games. Because in baseball, 40 games is not enough of a sample size to get it done. They have got to do this pretty quickly.
Great stuff. Go back to enjoying a little time off, and then we'll talk again when you get back into town, okay?
I'm ready. I'm coming back with my Gem City Bison gear. So we'd be on the lookout for that this weekend when we dive back in.
All right, bud. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy it. The baseball fanatic that he is. There's Kevin Holden from CBS 58. You can find him on Twitter at 321QKevin, at 321QKevin. You can find his stuff there. When we come back, some very, very, very telling statistics about the Milwaukee Brewers and what you make of them when we return. I want to get your thoughts on this because I think it's somewhat significant. So let's do this. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right
Want
after
to
this.
make your summer even better? Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. To win, play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. Summer is even better at Potawatomi.
Went away on vacation, and I had mentioned this. I finally had a chance to catch up with the guys from Forgotten Fire Winery, and I took the Moscato with me because when I was up there going back a couple of months, they did not have a batch of Moscato that they had recently bottled. So I had to wait, and then I finally got it, and oh my goodness, it was worth the wait. I love Moscato. I love good red wines and such, but I'm a Moscato fan. I like things a little bit sweeter. And it was so good. Oh, Jake did a magnificent job with the Moscato wine. But they have all kinds of different wines at Forgotten Fire Winery up in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. As a matter of fact, I was at a wine bar in Waukesha this past weekend, and they didn't carry any local wines. And I said, well, why not? And they were talking about different grapes and this. And I said, well, there's a winery right here in our own state that's beaten some of the better wines in Napa Valley. Now, they don't care about the awards. They just want you to have fun in a bottle and enjoy it. But we got to talking about it, and they had never heard of Forgotten Fire Winery. And I said, this is why I'm here. Our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery, tremendous place. And I've been promoting this for a long time. People talk about all the different wines that you can go to Door County and go out to the western portion of the state of Wisconsin. Nay. We just want non-pretentious BS. We just want to have fun. We want to be able to sit out back and enjoy it in the summer. A nice red in the winter. That's what you want. A good meal or a wine that goes along with it that you can enjoy to drink. Check out our friends at ForgottenFireWinery.com, ForgottenFireWinery.com, or check it out at your local grocery stores, your wine stores, your liquor stores, ForgottenFireWinery.com. It is fun in a bottle. It is worth it. It is good. If you like any type of wine, or maybe you just like a beverage, go to check them out, ForgottenFireWinery.com up in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. So a couple of statistics, I think, that stand out. One is, and Mark brought this up, says once the Brewers are down after 6 or 7 innings, they don't win. And I saw people going back and forth. Actually, Mark, you're right. When they are trailing after 7 innings, this team doesn't have a lot of fight. They are 3-32. Now, there's not many teams that are a lot better than that, but when they're trailing after 7 innings, you can pretty much close the door on the Milwaukee Brewers. 3-32. Actually, I take that back. 3-33 now after yesterday's loss. But they are 28-19 against the National League Central. Okay? 28-19. Think about this. Against the NL East, they are 11-13, 2 games under 500. And against the West, they are 4-8, 4 games under 500. Think about that. 28-19 against the East, or against the Central, but against the East, 2 games under 500 and 4 games under 500. So outside of their own division and some interleague play, which they're 7-3, they're not getting the job done. If it wasn't for the Cubs and the Reds and the Pirates, oh boy. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up right after this.
I'm Ebo.
Joe and we're glad you're here. Love it that you're here. Happy Monday to you. The Bill Michaels Show is on the air to our full bastion and growing network of stations. Thank you so much for taking a listen to us back from vacation. Good to be here. Ben Kenny producing the program as well, and nice and sunny and warm, and the entire week is going to be hot and sticky, and I like it just the way I like it. Loving it. And the Brewers, the best part about it is they're not going to lose any games this week because they're off. They are taking a much-needed break right now, I guess would be the best way to put it, is the Brewers try to regroup after a rather dismal stretch. The Brewers are 18-23 over the last 41 games. 18-23 over the last 41. 18-23. 5 games under 500 over their last 41 games. When they are trailing after 7 innings, not that this is an easy, amount of runs to overcome, but they pretty much pack it in. They are 3-32. 3-32. When they hit a home run, they are 39-25. When they don't hit a home run, they are 11-18. And when they score at least 4 runs, they are 40-15. When they score 3 runs or less, 10-28. 10-28. But if you look at the National League Central, this team is 28-19. Against the rest, the East, the West, and interleague play, the totals are sub 500. So going back to a statement that was over on the Facebook fan page, Magoo says, Brewers are lucky to be in a weak division. Against the Cubs, Reds, and Pirates, they're 23-13, averaging 6 runs a game. Against everybody else, 28-30, averaging 3.5 runs per game. Their weak hitting is exposed against better competition, and unfortunately, they won't get to play the Reds, Cubs, or Pirates in the postseason. And William writes us over on Twitter, at Bill_Michaels, by the way. To quote Denny Green, the Brewers are what most of us thought they were. Spotty hitting at best, pitching is really good, and when the offense is on, it's go time. When it's not, it's bad. Feels like the June swoon Brewers who are irrelevant by preseason football. There you go. The sentimentality of many eking into the program today. Eder, E-D-D-E-R, writes over in the email inbox and says, the Brewers aren't that good of a baseball team. We overestimated their talent, and they have underperformed even to our overestimation. He says that the offense is awful. Everybody can see it. I don't know what the approach at the plate is. Look at the first pitch fastball right down the middle and then go swinging and flailing wildly at pitchers after that. And if you hit it out of the ballpark because you're not going to score on a couple of base knocks or a stolen base or a bunt or a double because this team just doesn't have an in them. Joanne says David Stearns has failed miserably at putting consistent hitting in a lineup, and thus the new hitting coaches should be fired as well because they are teaching the same old crap to the new hitters they did bring on this team. There you go. That's Joanne. Appreciate it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This is from Chick. Chick says, hey, Bill, did you have a good vacation? And I still have not heard the boat story. I did, and I promise I'll tell it in the next segment. Because it wasn't anything major. It's not like it's hilarious or anything like that. He has his hose out. There you go. My hose was not out. during the whole boat story. Just an FYI. The only thing that happened was, I'll tell you about it coming up after this. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, give us a buzz. Phone lines wide open. Phone lines wide open. This is from Simply the Best over on Twitter that says, we are now down to the single digits until the first practice for the Green Bay Packers. Excited about that because baseball in this town sucks. It doesn't suck. Let's real quick, let's pump the brakes. Okay. I'm going to give you the positives. The team has played well up until probably the month of June. They do beat up on teams in their own division, but they play an unbalanced schedule, so you're going to have a lot more of that. They can get hot and healthy at the right time. You can get Freddie Peralta back and Hunter Renfroe back and start to get more of your team together and maybe make a trade for another bat that's going to be consistent in the lineup. You can get healthy and hot at the right time when everything just starts to fall into place. All of that can happen. Pitching can start to become better. Guys can really start to hone it in or just start to feel it. You can get into a zone. All of that has happened. We saw it happen with the Braves, the Nationals. We've seen teams ride that wave all the way to a championship. Okay? So I'm not counting and discounting out the Brewers. All of that can happen. And you have a very good manager when it comes to the analytics of managing Major League Baseball. I do agree that what they have done in this philosophy of, well, we're swinging for the fences because, you can hit one home run and drive in runs, and as opposed to doing things to manufacture runs. I get it. And you're successful and you're on top, but are you on top because you played such incredible baseball, or are you on top because those around you just flat out stink? Are you on top because of or in spite of? Right? Okay. I think we can all agree at this point that the Brewers are on top in spite of. The Cardinals swooned at the same time. Otherwise, God, if the Brewers had a winning record over the last 15 games, holy crap, their lead could be 5, 6, 7, 8 games. They could have closed this thing down already. They just couldn't do it. They missed a golden opportunity and couldn't do it. Nobody in the Central is that damn good. It's what you do, but it's a long season. It's what you do with the second half of your season. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. But to answer your question, yes, very much so. Had a great vacation. Good to relax, good to get away, all that kind of stuff. You bet. No doubt. 877-867-1670. Let's go to the phone calls. Let's go to Stan. Stan, welcome to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. What's going on, man?
Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Bill. My question is, with all the hitting issues, how come we don't see or hear anything about these two new batting coaches? It's like they're not on the team. With that, it's such a big issue and a real big problem. I think we should at least see or hear something about them, don't you?
You would figure. Yeah, you would figure. You'd hear something, see something. They'd be talking about something. I don't know. I know that they've changed coaches. I don't know if it's the philosophy anymore. I don't think we can just sit here and simply blame hitting coaches. You know what I mean? I don't think we can do that.
Yeah, but it's such a priority, the lack of hitting. You think they'd be in there somewhere and you get some quotes or anything from them,
Yep. Right now, all is quiet when the Brewers just flat out can't. They have been able to plate runs in certain times, but the problem is that if you look at their numbers aren't horrible. But what we all see to the naked eye is it's all or nothing, and that's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's not consistency of, it's not like they're scoring 4.5 runs per game on a daily basis. It's 2 games, you're going to get 5 runs, 6 runs, 7 runs. And then the next 2 games they're going to lose 2-1, 3-1, and they're not going to produce anything, or they're going to get shut out.
Yeah. This is a team with runners on base that can't get the key single or double. They'll drive them in.
Yep. No doubt. I agree with you. It's been, like I said, appreciate the phone call. It's been all or nothing. 100%. 100%. Brewers just not great in certain situations. We all know. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. With runners in scoring position. We talk about that all the time. With runners in scoring position. In certain games, it's nothing. But overall, when you look at the numbers, I think you would be shocked to find out that the Brewers are third best in OPS in all of Major League Baseball with runners in scoring position. Shocked. I agree. Shocked. With OPS. Batting average wise, they're dead nuts in the middle. They're 15th. With runners in scoring position, they are third best in baseball via OPS, but they are 15th in baseball in batting average, hitting .255 with runners in scoring position, which is not terrible. They're third in Major League Baseball with home runs with runners in scoring position. Third. Now, going back to our caller, when he was talking about being able to, bring in a run with a double or such, they're 21st. So again, it validates the all or nothing mentality. And I agree with you. Ronald says, why must everybody blame the damn hitting coaches for the troubles of these players? If a major league player cannot take recommendations from a coach and not utilize it, it's on them. All the hitting coach is there to do is just change your approach and give you ideas to change that approach. That's it. Gary says the only thing that bugs me is Keston Hiura getting sent down when he's one of their hottest hitters, best overall hitters in July. I agree. I understand it. Because he's going to get more at bats and he's going to stay consistent, and they want him to stay consistent. But I think, and I agree with you in July, but Gary, Keston Hiura has proven at times he can hit, and then he just goes away. And that's been consistent throughout his career. Because he's going to come back after the All-Star break. I get it. Send him down. Keep him hitting. Because the more at bats, the more repetition seems to be the way this guy can go. So you ride that horse until he's not hot anymore. I understand that. But if I had to sit here to say that I'm banking on keeping Keston Hiura in the lineup, come on. Until he proves me wrong for 3/4 of a season, I'm not. I don't believe in Keston Hiura. He's going to give you power numbers, but right now I agree with you because he's got better at bats and better batting average than a lot of the guys on this team do, and that's saying something because he's only hitting 230 something. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Smell those steaks on the grill? Summertime is grilling time. Get your steaks shipped directly to you. Go to ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I had mentioned this past weekend I went downtown Waukesha and had a great time with a couple of different places I had not been to either at all or in a long, long time. But ended up over at Nice Ash and really on Saturday, just in the Saturday afternoon was great, just walking around downtown Waukesha. But stopped into Nice Ash and got caught up because I had quite a few of the sticks out of Nice Ash when I was on the trip, whether it was sitting up by the pool or sitting out on the deck at night. But good to get down there. Did I think it was a Macanudo on Saturday. And the TVs all were on, watching Brewers games and the Open and such, but just had a really nice time, very quiet time. It was before the bands and everything got going, but it was good to get down there and say hi to Aaron and Kristen and such, and had a really nice time. And you can too. Go to theniceash.com, theniceash.com, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha, Wisconsin. Great people, great place, and tell them we said hello. So getting back to it, this one was from Jackson, who said, looking forward to the boat story. The boat story, by the way. So vacation was fantastic, but there's always a mishap of some kind. So I had just, as you know, you've probably been following the saga if you listen to the program, that I had finally gotten the engine to the boat back, and the boat ran great. I mean, kudos to Skipper Buds. They did a fantastic job. I mean, it just touched the key and the thing fired right up. So there was none of that. But the trailer itself was a little bit older, and because the boat itself, I think, is a 2016. and it needed some things. So I had some new tires, and I had the axle and such greased. And when I picked the boat up, one of the guys said, "Hey, just to let you know, now there's what are called board slides. So you either have two different types of trailers. One is a trailer that has rollers, where the boat rolls onto the trailer, or another one is board slides, and they're usually carpeted the same color as the trailer or the boat, and they're boards, and the boat slides up on those." And the guy had told me, he said, "Hey, your one of your slides is loose." I didn't even pay attention to it. I'm just like, whatever, no big deal. And ended up that as I backed it to pull the boat out of the water after the week of being at the lake, the board floated away. I had to literally jump out of the car, run down into the water, and take off and dive into the water because the slide had floated off the trailer and started floating out. And you can't put the boat on the trailer without it. Otherwise, the metal of where the slide bolts to on the boat trailer would just get torn up. So I had to jump into the water, grab the board, and then pull the trailer back out of the water. I had to go find something. I had to go, and I'm in a state park almost. So I had to take the little toolkit that I had because I didn't have anything to keep the board down with. So I had to go and find 2 screws from random areas, unscrew, and take them out of something and put them into these boards to hold it down. Well, it still didn't hold it down. So when Kristen had to drive the boat onto the trailer, I had to put my arm, I had to be in the water under the trailer to hold the board on straight as the boat, which is kind of dangerous, I guess. But as the boat went on the trailer, I had to then hold the board steady to make sure that it stayed on the trailer so that the boat, it wouldn't slide off as we had the boat on the trailer. Anyway, that was probably the most horrific.
Just being a non-athlete.
Yeah, I wasn't good at it. I'm not some kind of great, I'm not Michael Phelps out there diving around for boards. Let's put it that way. But nevertheless, we got it on. Then the boat strap broke. I had to run into town and buy a new boat strap but we finally got it all tied down. We got it anchored down. Everything came out great, and it was awesome. But that was the only mishap of the trip. Everything else was just really nice. It was just one of those trips where you just get away, and I literally did nothing. Grilled out, went to the restaurant a couple of times, had my fill of Skyline, and just laid by the pool and just drove the boat. The kids tubed, they were tubing all day for hours and hours and hours, and just drank sweet tea and some adult beverages, had a couple of bottles of wine, bunch of good cigars, and just laid in the sun. That was it. There was nothing more to it. It was so unbelievably relaxed. I mean, there was one day we were laying out by the pool that I fell asleep. It was just great. It was just really, really relaxing. So, but that was the only mishap, if you will, of the entire trip. Other than the fact that driving down and driving back, we went through torrential rains. But the trip itself, nothing. It was great. Weather was perfect. Disappointing as far as the story goes.
Yeah, I wanted something drastic.
Yeah, there was nothing. But I mean, the fact that I had to dive into the water to go get the board. I mean, at the moment it was like, oh crap, here we go again. And then when I finally got the thing, the boat strap, the boat strapped down, I pulled it out of the water. I thought, okay, I'll just tighten it up and I'll be good to go. And I went click, and I went to tighten the strap, and then ping, the strap broke. So, and then it was just like, oh crap, here we go. So I had to jack the boat up off of the trailer, situate the board perfectly, bolt the board down, go down into town, buy new straps. It was a pain in the ass. But beyond that, there was no major catastrophe. There was nothing. It ran great. By the way, I had mentioned this before, but the bimini top and the new floor and everything that Dwayne put in from Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau. Oh my God, the bimini top was fantastic. We were doing about 40 miles an hour on the water, having the kids tube, and the bimini top didn't move. I mean, it was steady, it was stable, and he made it really high so I could stand up underneath it, and made it larger so it covered the entire, passenger area of the boat. It was fantastic. I mean, the whole trip was great. I wish I had some great, hilarious, horrendous, goofy, only I could tell it type of story, but there just wasn't. It was just a nice trip, a nice getaway. Good way to recharge the batteries. Kenosha Dave says, did you see what A.J. Dillon did? So, yes, I have. If you haven't seen it already, there's two things to this. A.J. Dillon, the running back for the Green Bay Packers, 247-pound running back, did what's called the Oklahoma drill. If you've never done it, it's basically you lay head-to-head with an opponent. There's a running back and a defender, and you lay head-to-head. And then they say they either blow a whistle or they go hut hut, and you both get up, and the running back tries to run over the defender, okay? And the defender tries to stop the running back. It's how quick you can get up and make a play. That's what you're trying to do. That's what it's teaching you, all right? Well, A.J. Dillon went to the Kenosha Kingfish game and did the Oklahoma drill. He was put to the test against Elvis, the Kingfish mascot. I don't know if you haven't seen it yet or not, but the Kingfish mascot it's a dude in a baseball outfit with a giant kingfish head, the giant baseball head that's got like a fish fin thing on top. All right. A.J. Dillon ran his ass over so hard that the head blew off the mascot. Now, on one hand, it's hilarious because the Kingfish guy is sitting there and he took a beating. I mean, he got run the F over and lost his head, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing I thought of was, if I'm the Packers, I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, why is my running back participating in a drill like this at a Northwoods League game? I don't want him doing that. I don't want him doing anything physical. No, I don't want him getting up and pulling a hammy. I don't want him getting hurt. I don't want this Kingfish mascot trying to prove something and tackling him. No, no. That was my thought. But it is pretty funny. If you haven't seen it already, the Kenosha Kingfish put it out. You can follow them over on Twitter, Kenosha Kingfish. But it was pretty funny. It was a funny.
So,
tweet.
Bill,
yes,
Wisconsin running back Braylon Allen did something very similar at a Fond du Lac baseball game with their mascot. My problem there is he did the Dillon thing. They did the Oklahoma drill, but Allen kind of slowed himself up. He stutter stepped into the mascot to lighten the blow.
Right.
I think that's the biggest. It's the worst part about this entire thing. Aside from the fact that you have a college junior getting trucked by a moving freight train.
Right. Yeah, this was it is funny. And this is from Kathy, who says, I can't believe that the head blew off of the mascots after watching it. What would the kids think? Kathy, the kids would think that that's a guy in a mascot uniform. If they really thought that was a true life kingfish, I would have to ask their parents some really serious questions about their upbringing.
I think I'm with Kathy here.
It's not like he ripped the beard off of Santa Claus and you found out it's Stan the mailman,
Oh, but mascots are one of the final pure things left in our society.
Right.
When you still think like the Philly fanatic. I don't ever want to see who's behind the suit.
No, I agree with that. But it's like, have you ever seen the one I saw? I was watching a Reds game one time, and their mascot was on the back of a UTV, and they were flying around the outfield track, and he just lost his balance and fell. And it wasn't like he fell and just went down. He went down and his head flew off. And I mean, it rolled like 20 yards away, and he's scrambling to get his head. It happens. I agree with you. There's certain things that you don't want to see. You don't want to see behind Bango. You don't want to see behind the Philly fanatic, and you don't want to see behind Bucky Badger. Other than that, I'm good with everything. The rest of them, who cares? The Kingfish, I don't know. What I want to know is the guy that was in the mascot outfit okay? Because he got his ass dump trucked. I mean, he got depleted. Watch that again. He is completely horizontal to the ground when A.J. Dillon lowers his shoulder and runs him over. I just retweeted it. If you follow me on Twitter, you can check it out over there, at Bill_Michaels. I mean, that mascot got depleted. He is completely horizontal to the ground when A.J. Dillon runs him over. It's amazing. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
BBQ.com again, burnpitbbq.com. You will not be disappointed. Not be disappointed in the least. Good stuff from our friends over there at Burn Pit Barbecue. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and give us a call because phone lines are wide open. Brewers kind of limping into the unofficial halfway point of the season. And just looking for something right now. Maybe it's just recharging the batteries, whatever, but not looking good. And as we had mentioned, when you talk about the National League Central, they are 9 games over 500, and against everybody else, they're not. The East and the West, they don't fare well. Interleague play, they're 7-3, but the rest of it, nah, baby, nah. No, maybe not. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. We have not even mentioned the Open Championship, which I thought was it was pretty spectacular. You kind of, as the how do I put it? The enthusiasm for Rory McIlroy leading into Sunday was really heading towards a crescendo, being that favorite there. And then to see Rory miss a couple, and Cameron Smith, who we saw just had lost it when it came to winning the Masters. He ended up charging his way into history on the old course, the 150th Open Championship, in a stunner at St. Andrews. And he goes and wins his first major title, and ends up winning the Open. It was really fun to watch. Now, Ben, I'm sure you were glued to it, right?
Yeah, I actually, and I don't know if I should share this, but I feel like I have already. I woke up at pretty ungodly hours on Saturday and Sunday to watch, and Thursday and Friday, frankly.
Right.
Because Friday I filled in on the morning show for the second half. I think I woke up around 4 and started watching by 5 to just catch as much as I could. Saw Tiger finish it up, which was emotional. But yeah, Sunday was a sad day for me.
Okay, let's go back first of all, because I did not see, and I hate to say this, but I didn't turn the TV on. I very rarely watched anything. Even though the Open is something that I love and I really wanted to see, once I checked out, I checked out. So talk to me about Tiger's goodbye. I'm not going to say goodbye because he's going to be back, but talk about Tiger coming up 18 for the final time.
So miles out of the cut line. His first hole, actually, his drive landed in a divot on Thursday and then hit it into the water from there. So we started off with a double and it just kind of never had a chance. His walk-up 18 was very Tiger-like. Many have stopped at the Swilken Bridge to wave and acknowledge their final time at St. Andrews. Tiger didn't do that.
No.
He took his hat off. He did acknowledge the fans all the way up. He was crying a little bit, definitely emotional. You could kind of sense the finality in the moment, though he would not really accept it or go in and, make it his final Open at St. Andrews, because he wants to hold out hope that he's still competing at a semi-high level in 5 or 7 years. So it was very Tiger, and it was cool at the time before Rory lost that as Tiger was walking up 18, Rory was walking down 1. starting his second round, and they tip their caps to each other. Kind of a
and Rory's been a huge
passing.
Tiger supporter.
Yeah.
So now here's the question:
PGA Tour stuff
for somebody that's just an avid golfer fan, we'll say, as you are. So when you watched Tiger, I'm like you. I think Tiger's got still golf left in him. Now, whether or not he's got major golf left in him, I don't know. But will this be? My assumption is it would not, at least in Tiger's mind. But do you think that this was Tiger's last time truly being competitive, we'll say, at walking St. Andrews?
He can walk it physically. The problem was it's a course where it's all feel. You're hitting 100-foot putts.
Mm-hmm.
You're finding ways to bounce balls off various things. And he clearly, he just didn't have the feel that you get from playing competitive golf every weekend. Like, he hit the ball fine. He had some big mistakes, but still, it's when he had 70 feet and you need to get it down in 2, he just didn't have the feel that you get from playing often. So I don't really think he can ever contend there unless he goes back to playing a regular schedule, which is pretty much impossible.
Right. Yeah. We all, I think, would like to believe that Tiger is going to return to competitive golf, because I think golf is better when Tiger is there. However, I think I think right now, and this might just be myself thinking this, but I think right now golf needs Tiger. Not to say that, that other players like Rory and Cameron Smith and such are not terrific players and terrific faces for the game. But with what's going on with the LIV Tour and the dissension between the two and the controversy and the sniping back and forth, I think right now golf, the PGA golf needs Tiger to be somewhat relevant. And I just because it's been such a ugliness of split, you need something to come back to the tour and feel good about. So I think a lot of people were rooting for the likes of a guy like Cameron Smith, rooting for Rory McIlroy in a lot of different ways. I knew a lot of people that were rooting against Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, and those guys that were just hoping they would just go down in flames. And what little I did see, we were over at a place called Ainsley's, which is a bar/restaurant at the resort, or at the lake. And when Dustin Johnson would bogey a hole, I mean, people were openly cheering. I think that's what it's kind of come to. So I think, but golf right now, I think needs Tiger. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think his return just to make a couple cuts at the majors, I feel like he's in golf now. I think golf needs him to talk more, realistically. My ideal scenario is he's obviously not going to be peak Tiger ever again. I want him to kind of change the facade around him instead of, acting as though he is the most ferocious competitor ever. I want him to kind of take that wall down, and when he hits it into the water on his first hole of a tournament, tweet out the video and be like, hey, guys, you see how bad that was? Kind of become the relatable golfer. I think that's the best thing he could do. But yes, I do think golf needs him. They need Rory. I mean, there are rumors swirling that I don't want to get into because they're very sad, but very significant players getting set to jump in the next coming days.
Yeah, I would not want to.
Cam Smith reportedly could be one of them.
Yeah, that I had heard that too, but right now they're not. So we'll see what happens. But and then obviously what the PGA's reaction again to all of this could be. So we'll wait and see. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. So Cameron Smith winning it. Obviously, you've got, the Brewers going to the All-Star break, the Home Run Derby coming up tonight. Brewers still have a half-game lead in the division, as bad as things have looked. And looking over the last 18 of 23 over the last 41 games, not the way you wanted to necessarily end the first half, the unofficial first half of your season. But that being said, at least the Brewers still play within a division that they can get a lot of wins. But, and we had talked about this, and I had mentioned this before, that going into that 10-game stretch with the Pirates and the Cubs, I thought, oh, here you go. This is where you begin to extend your lead. Well, they didn't. As a matter of fact, they came out of it sub 500. going 6-4 in that 10-game stretch. So will the real Milwaukee Brewers please stand up? And a lot of you are indicating now that you believe that what we have witnessed over the last 41 games is the real Milwaukee Brewers. And that even if they do make a deal and add a bat, it isn't going to matter. Now, whether that's just Wisconsin pessimism because you've been punched in the gut so many times, or whether or not it's actually real, you tell me. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show still coming up after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
This July at Potawatomi, make your summer even better by winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. For your chance to win, just play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. Over 100 winners every Thursday. So go ahead, book that beach vacation, that up north cottage getaway, or make it a staycation to remember. Your summer just got even better, only at Potawatomi. Learn more at paysbig.com/summer. Must be 21 years old to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. By the way, the Live Tour, even luring away David Faraday. David Faraday leaving the broadcast, and he is going to be heading over to the Live Tour, which we kind of suspected. He's been with the Golf Channel and doing the NBC sports. He's been there for the World Golf Championships and all the majors and such that have been on NBC, and he is now leaving. He's going to the Live Tour as well. Are we, Ben, do you start taking the Live Tour and what they're doing and the money they're paying? Do we start looking at this and going, wait a minute, if you now lose your Open Championship champion and some other golfers that are of big names, say a guy like Rory, do you now look at this and go, wait a minute, this is getting serious? You've already lost some of the more favorite players, but this is now you got to take it really, really serious because you're losing people almost like you're on a sinking ship and the water's coming in really fast and you just don't have the ability to keep the water out anymore.
I think it has been serious since they got Dustin Johnson, since they showed an ability to actually take one of the golfers in the top, 15 of the world. I don't think Rory will ever go, but there are rumors out there, not reports, but rumors that they are about to land Cam Smith, Adam Scott, Mark Leishman, the three Aussies. They already got Henrik Stenson, who's the European Ryder Cup captain, or was, and that's significant for that reason. And then maybe Hideki, who is literally the face of golf in Japan, who could be worth, more to them than anybody else they've gotten so far, because every Japanese golfer will follow him. I think it is serious. I wouldn't be so mad about all of it if it wasn't, Yeah.
It's still not here's the thing. Weren't they making it to where it was going to be a 43-person tournament per tournament? Correct me if I'm wrong.
They have to have a certain amount because they do the shotgun start.
Right. So they do the shotgun starts, and I agree with that. I understand that. But they're getting more and more with the golfers that they're signing. They're getting more and more golfers, which means they're getting down to where you're going to need cuts, right?
No. When more guys sign, my understanding is they just say, see ya, to some of the lesser guys on the bottom. Gotcha. Like there are some absolute nobodies there.
Right.
That they could easily just send away. Plus, it's the Saudis. What are those golfers going to say?
Right.
You have to let me play.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Not really the people you want to mess with.
Right. Exactly.
Which we also haven't seen the but yet, because they're paying these guys all this money and they played a couple events. It all looks it's like a honeymoon phase. Everyone's so happy. We haven't really seen yet the extent of what they're going to ask of the people under contract.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, because we all know that they're going to be much more fan friendly. They're going to be more open. They're going to be more media driven. And they have to right now. That's part of it. They have to. I'm going to still, I don't know why. I just feel as a golf fan, I really shouldn't care because good competitive golf is good competitive golf. But I don't know why there is a level of, just me personally, betrayal. I feel like there's a dark side to this. I know that the Saudis have been painted in a particular light, and I understand all of that. And I don't want to get into the political aspect of it, but I understand the politics of it as well. But I almost feel like it's the evil empire grabbing and taking some of the best defenders of what's good and right. I don't know why. I just feel like there's a level of betrayal there. That's just me. Who knows? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. By the way, Pro Football Focus is coming out. They are unveiling, starting today, the 10 best players in the NFL are going to be named on Friday, July 22nd, but they're going to do the top 50 best players. The Pro Football 50 going to be unveiled in reverse order. It started today, and they are the top 50. When you go with number 50, the edge rusher Max Crosby from the Raiders, the edge at number 49, Tell me if you agree with this, but at number 49, Rashawn Gary, a raw prospect who had immense physical tools when the Packers drafted him in the first round. And last year, he realized a lot of that potential in a major way. He recorded a 90.1 in Pro Football Focus's pass rushing grade, racked up 81 pressures over the course of the season and improved as the year went on. He could be even better in 2022. He comes in at number 49. 49 as the 49th best player via Pro Football Focus. And when you put it in comparison, number 42 is the wide receiver Jamar Chase out of Cincinnati, who dominated in college football and burst onto the scene last year. The tackle Tyron Smith comes in at number 41 overall out of the Dallas Cowboys organization. So Rashawn Gary, while he made the top 50, and you may say, oh, I think he deserves better. You may also say, look at some of the company that he's in. Not a bad way to go, but Rashawn Gary making the top 50 list out of Pro Football Focus. We still got another hour yet to go, as a matter of fact. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Milwaukee Brewers have stumbled their way into the All-Star break. Losers 8 of their last 11 as they would fall to the Giants in their final game before the break, 9-5. Here's more from manager Craig Counsell on the state of his team.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, a couple games didn't go our way that were winnable here. And that stings a little bit going into the break. But now it's time to recharge and get ready for a fun second half.
The Brewers currently sit 50-43 on the year, a half game above the Cardinals for first place in the NL Central. Tomorrow will be the MLB's All-Star Game. Josh Hader will not be in attendance as he is spending time with his wife and newborn son. Corbin Burns, who has also been selected to the All-Star Game, will be in attendance but not playing. Here's more from Craig Counsell.
Yeah, I mean, I think as he kind of got away from his start, he just prioritizing rest was, kind of took importance over pitching in the All-Star Game.
Yesterday also saw the start of Major League Baseball's draft. The Brewers selected shortstop Eric Brown with their 27th overall pick.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
The Milwaukee Bucks would fall in their finale in Las Vegas for the Summer League, 80-69 to the Toronto Raptors. Bucks first-round pick MarJon Beauchamp would struggle in the finale, having only 7 points, 2 blocks, and 1 steal. The Deer would finish 3-2 in Summer League. And finally, this Friday, rookies will report for Packers training camp before it gets underway on July 27th. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. We're glad you're with us. And this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Wabam, W-A-B-A-M. Go to getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com. And I saw that Matt Kenseth and the Wabam car at the Slinger Nationals last Tuesday night. They ended up finishing 5th. So not a bad showing. They had a lot of cars. Good. I saw a lot of the Facebook Live stuff from Slinger Raceway. And the Wabam car, W-A-B-A-M. Ended up finishing 5th. Go to getwabam.com. That's getwabam.com. And when I was down on vacation, I was introducing a couple of the boaters at the marina to the Whiplash product that I love so much about getting stains and such, keeping stains and such off of your paint. And when you're talking about a boat being in the water, if you will bam the hell out of that thing prior to putting it in the water, it still beads up even after sitting in the water for quite some time. So good stuff from our friends at Wabam. Go to getwabam.com. Get WABAM, getwabam.com. And I use they're kind of like their wet wipes, but they're cleaning scrubs. And I use those on the side of the boat too. Got all the algae and stuff off of it right after I pulled it out of the water just by using that stuff. It's fantastic. So welcome to the final hour of the program, Bill Michaels Show. Ben Kenny producing. You can follow us over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can follow me there at Bill_Michaels or at Ben Z Kenny. You can find us there. Give us a shout. And you can also track us down on the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. The Bill Michaels Show. You can follow us and subscribe for free on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. By the way, tonight, 6 o'clock, for those that want to pay attention to it, doing a Facebook Live, but it's going to be on the motorcycle ride page. The motorcycle ride page. And going to do it at 6 o'clock tonight. All the details are going to be laid out. Going to have a lot of fun tonight and answer a lot of questions too for the 15th annual poker run coming up on Sunday, September 4th. But go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Big Unit Poker Run. All one word, put them all together. And tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to go do some Facebook Live. So I would appreciate it if you go like that page. And if you do like that page and you know somebody who rides a motorcycle, or maybe you do, but share it with them. That'd be great. We can't ask you enough. We do it in support of our veterans, our military members, and their families. Every year, we've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in benefit of the Fisher House and being able to house families and house military members at their time of need when they're receiving medical care and treatment, and to do it completely, for the most part, expense-free to the family and the military member. So we can't do this without you. It's the least we can do for those that protect our freedoms and our rights to do whatever it is we do. But please, if you can go there, like the page. And tonight, we're going to really kind of start our push for the pre-registration and give you all the details for all the fun and all the stuff that the prizes and such that we have coming up tonight. We're going to do it all tonight, 6 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Central Time, Facebook Live tonight over on that page. Go to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. And if you want to get signed up and pre-registered, you can see the QR code there. Go ahead and do that too, and get pre-registered, because we have some really, really, really great prizes for those who pre-register if you're lucky enough to win it. And, for pre-registration, it's a minimal amount of risk when you talk about your odds to win it. So I think there's 4, right? Like right now, I think there's like 60, 70 people that are pre-registered, which is for this time of year is good, because a lot of people start to look for the weather and long-term weather forecasts. But so right now, you're 4 of 60 are going to win prizes. So, I mean, it's your odds of it are pretty good. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. This was from Bridget, I should say, who says, the Brewers' problems are strictly hitting. The pitching has been there pretty much all season long. What is the philosophy? We talked about that, Bridget. When you say, what is the philosophy of this team and why can't they get it right? At this point, there is either something innately flawed in what it is they're teaching and or showing these batters, or strictly the overestimation of talent. One of the two. You can't keep changing hitting coaches. It just doesn't work. Okay? Because you just don't allow anything to really take hold. So I can't say that it's that. I think at this point in time, you just strictly have to look at the guys that are swinging the bat, right? Just look at the guys that are swinging the bat. And then you say, okay, what's going on with this team? That's it. I don't think there's anything deeper than that. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody talks about, power numbers and home runs and slugging percentages and such, but I don't know what else to tell you. It's just this team right now has been, for the most part, all or nothing. And when you look at their splits as a team now, as a team, with runners in scoring position as a team, they're not bad. Their OPS is third base in all of Major League Baseball. Right? With runners in scoring position, though, you start to look at some of these. Willie Adames, let's take, for example, with runners in scoring position, he's one of your better hitters. 286. Victor Caratini, 308. Rowdy Tellez is 297 with runners in scoring position. Christian Yelich, 230. Urias, 180. Hunter Renfroe, 182. Andrew McCutchen, at least, has been clutch. I mean, he's hitting over, I think he's like 286 is what he is, 286. 286. With Jonathan Davis, 235. Omar Narvaez has been good, hitting 297. It's not a terrible team. Colton Wong, though, with runners in scoring position, 167. The worst on the team, 167. With runners in scoring position. (877-867-1670). 877-867-1670. They just, again, it's all or nothing. That's just what it is. That's what it is. Rick says, I think they pass on hittable pitches just to raise the pitch count and then end up having to swing at bad pitches. Now, we've talked a lot about that, Rick. I shouldn't say a lot because that's a lie, but we have discussed that. On one hand, you do. I mean, there's certain pitchers you want to get past. Certain starters you want to get beyond. So I get it. You're trying to work the count. You're trying to work for a better pitch, a better situation, what have you. But I agree with you. On some of this stuff, you see first ball, fastball, and some of these guys just take it. Right down the middle, right down Wisconsin Avenue, and they're just looking at it because they're getting a gauge, if you will. But there's a fine line between grip it and rip it and working the count and trying to get a pitch count up. See, to me, and this is where, like, philosophically, I would differ a little bit. To me, I'm hitting good pitches. My mantra of my hitters going up is, let's be aggressive. Go get it. Because if you do get into a pitcher, if you do get into runs, if you do get into numerous guys with runners in scoring position and such, then chances are you're going to drive up the pitch count anyway of the starter. So the philosophy of let's just take a lot of pitches, let's work a count, now again, you're trying to be smart. It's a fine line because it's easier said than done for you and I because we're not sitting there looking at a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, But it's the all or nothing. We're going to work the count. We're going to be really patient at the plate. We're going to get these good at bats. Okay. But if the bats ultimately equal strikeouts, yeah, you're getting the pitch count up, but you're still not plating runs as opposed to being aggressive and just going after pitches that look good. Sometimes it's scouting reports, what have you. Ronald says it's all or nothing. Just what can a hitting coach teach a player if that's a team expectation? Rick says, I'm a small ball guy, so I think you swing at good pitches regardless. See, I agree with you, Rick. I don't know what the splits are when you talk about, when you talk about, say, the count. You know what I mean? When you talk about the count and, with no outs, 1 outs, 2 outs, like first pitch hitters. Andrew McCutchen is first pitch down the dead nut center. He's hitting 409. Andrew McCutchen, first pitch fastball. He's a 409 hitter. Willie Adames, first pitch, not so good. Rowdy Tellez, 375. Urias, 353. Keston Hura, oddly enough, is 667 if you give him a first pitch fastball. He's hitting it on the screws. Where he falters is getting behind in the count. Christian Yelich is 227. First pitch, being a strike, swinging. First pitch. However, say when you get to an 0-1 count on you, with an 0-1 count, Rowdy Tellez, 321. He's aggressive. Willie Adames, again, 333, aggressive. But he also, those two guys lead the team in home runs, right? So you go look at a guy like Urias, hitting 212. Christian Yelich, when he gets behind in the count, is hitting 429 with no balls and a strike. Hitting 429, believe it or not. Where Christian Yelich falls into trouble is when you get down in the count. 877-867-1670, 867-1670. Let's do this. Let's do this. We'll quickly take a break. We're going to take a break, come back. We'll get back into this a little bit. Stay tuned. Whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. We still got 3 segments left to go before we get out of here today. Got a lot more coming up right after this.
Want to make your summer even better? Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. To win, play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. Summer is even better at Potawatomi.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Hey, our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. It's rare to find really good deals on premium brands, but right now, Pella Windows and Doors, you can get them installed in your home and pay 0% interest for 4 years right now. And if you don't want to do the financing, that's fine. You can skip it and then save $250 per window. Per window. Now, if you're upgrading to the Easy Slide windows, which is the new innovative series, they're going to give you $400 per window off. So you can either go 4 years, no interest, or go $250 off per window that you purchase. Or if you're going to do the slider windows, take $400 off per window. You got it? You follow me so far? And they're fantastic. They're economical. And when it just comes to installation, warranty, everything along, for the ride, so to speak. There's no better economical factor than Pella. Pella is the best. They add the most value to your home for the money. Go to PellaWI.com, P-E-L-L-A, PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. I have them in my home, both the Pella windows and the patio doors, and I'm going to be looking, I think, relatively soon, for an entry door system. Mine's just a little dated, unless, of course, they can just upgrade it. But mine's a little dated. Got the double doors with the latches and stuff. I want to get that completely redone. So there you go. Go to PellaWI.com or call them 855-PELLA-WI, 855 P-E-L-L-A, 855-PELLA-WI, 855 PELLA-WI, and see for yourself. So Ben, now you pulled up some statistics here, right? And just looking at what you got. In other words, again, attributing the fact that they're all or nothing, they rank really low when it comes to actual number of at-bats with runners in scoring position, right?
Yeah, that is, a lot has been made that when they lose, when Burns is on the mound and it's a 2-1 loss, it looks horrible when they go 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. So that is always, people try to use that to explain all the struggles. The struggles is not with runners in scoring position. It's the fact that they don't often get into scoring position. They're 26th in baseball in at bats. And I believe they are only ahead of the Angels, the Pirates, like pretty horrific teams.
Yeah, they don't get to the plate very often with runners in scoring position, and they don't put them in run. That's part of it is they don't get a lot of runners in scoring position. Is that, again, it goes back to the grip and a rip it mentality. We all know it. We've all beat it to death. It's the horse that just can't run anymore. It's all or nothing with this team. For the most part, it's all or nothing. Very rarely do you see them, get a guy on first, knock him over with a base hit to right field. Suddenly you got first and third, nobody out. And then all of a sudden you're driving in a double and scoring the run. You're not seeing it that way with runners in scoring. What it is guy at first, solo shots, things like that, or 2-run homers that plate runs. You just don't see a lot of 90 degree or 90 feet feet baseball, so to speak. I'm mentally challenged at this point, I think. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. When they're behind in the count, they've got a 286 batting average with a 478 on base percentage and a 532 slugging percentage. Their OPS, when they're ahead in the count, is really good. This team is, again, the numbers will fool you because you'll look at it and go, wow, this is really good. This is where you can take analytics and turn them into something that's really not there. Don't you get that sense, Ben, when you look at it, you're like, wait a minute, that's not the team I'm watching. The numbers are really, really good, but that's not the team that I'm watching, right?
Yeah, kind of. For some reason with this team, it feels so situational, where when it all works, it all looks amazing and looks perfect. And that probably buoys the numbers for when it looks bad. So when it looks bad, there's nothing I've seen that looks worse than this.
Okay, so let's ask this question. Okay. And I agree with you. So when you look at the numbers, no one would guess that when it comes with runners in scoring position, they're the third best team OPS-wise in Major League Baseball. Nobody would guess that. So you tell me, is this team closer to what we've seen over the last couple of weeks? Or is this team closer to the numbers that they're actually putting up, which those numbers are the numbers that then give you hope?
I wish I knew the answer because then I could make a lot of money gambling on it.
Right.
I have no clue. I mean, they've also, it has to be said, they have completely choked away probably 6 games in a row, whether it's Hader or the bullpen or Council's pitching moves or whatever. They have been in position to win a lot of games in the last 2 weeks. They've just choked. So I have no clue, but I hope it's the latter.
By the way, just an FYI, the Brewers' 3rd round pick, Dylan O'Ray, shortstop from Northern Collegiate Institute in Sarnia, Ontario. Just an FYI for those that are following along.
A Canadian?
Canadian.
Oh, man.
That's it. Nothing more. Nothing more to see here.
Trade him.
I know I haven't mentioned it. I get it. And people are hitting me up for it. What do you think of the draft? I don't care. It's not an NBA draft. It's not an NFL draft. It is a Major League Baseball draft. We are not going to see these guys, other than maybe the proverbial, hey, we've got him here at American Family Field. Let's get him on the air for a couple of minutes. Your 1st round pick. Other than that, who cares? I know it's the future. I know you can be geeked up, but this guy, unless he's phenomenal, you aren't even going to know his name for the next 2 to 3 years. Who cares? Right now, who cares? Just an FYI. And I know people want to get geeked about it, but it is not like the 1st round draft choice coming into the Green Bay Packers and whether or not he's going to be a wideout and he's going to be able to catch balls over the middle for Aaron Rodgers because you don't have Devonta Adams anymore. That's you're looking for an impact player. This guy isn't going to impact this organization unless he's traded away in the next 2 years. So 2-3 years. So it's like, who cares?
Do you remember the first player whose son was drafted? Like the first player you grew up watching who then had his son drafted?
Ken Griffey Jr.
That happened to me 4 times last night, and now I feel old.
Ken Griffey Jr. And, well, you can also look at Ripken. You know, you want to go back that many years for me. Because you had Cal Ripken Sr. and then Cal Ripken Jr. But Ken Griffey Jr. and then obviously he and his dad played together for a short period of time. But that was the last time that I could say, you look at this kid and you go, okay, if he's a semblance of what his dad was, he's going to be a pretty good player. But Ken Griffey Jr. just kind of broke the mold for everybody because he was just, I played against him in high school and he was just a different cat. He was going to play Storm Team or Legion Ball, and I was playing for Storm Team at the time too. And he was so far above everybody else, it wasn't even funny. He was just on a different planet. I played for Moeller High School. And the Larkins had all gone through Moeller High School. that's where Moeller is known for because they've had some really big stars that have come out of that high school. More so for football than for baseball, but with the Larkins going through there and Byron Larkin being so good basketball wise and playing for Xavier for so many years and such. But yeah, it was interesting. But,
so last night, the first overall pick is Matt Holliday's son.
Yeah.
The Rockies and Cardinals guy and Yankees. And then Andrew Jones's son, who's also a center fielder, gets picked. And then Carl Crawford's son actually goes to the Phillies. So I feel old now. When you start to see some of this collection of talent, so to speak, that is aged with, and they grew up like when Prince Fielder, got drafted. And, you knew his dad, and then you see Prince Fielder, and Prince Fielder had been around baseball pretty much all his life in dugouts and on fields and wiffle ball bats and baseball bats. And same thing with Ken Griffey Jr. You knew there was a pedigree there too. So, I was forgetting about Prince, at first because Ken Griffey Jr. was the first guy for me anyway, but Prince was another guy. No doubt. Jerry says, by the way, to paraphrase Yogi Berra, baseball, 50% physical, 75% mental. The Brewers are failing the mental test. You're correct. Yogi was never good at math, by the way. Just an FYI. 877-867-1670. Who you got tonight in the home run derby unit? Oh,
Is Pete Alonso going to be the back-to-back? Does Pete Alonso win it again? Boy, I really don't care. I know. I hope it's exciting. Ben, are you hunkering down tonight to watch the home run derby?
100%. I am rooting my life away for anybody except Pete Alonso.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is the Bryson DeChambeau of baseball. I can't stand him. I hope he loses in the first round.
Well, there you go. Damn. Yeah, because you've got who all do you have? Let's see here. You got Ronald Acuna Jr. He goes up against Pete Alonso, I believe, early. There's Jose Ramirez, Juan Soto, I know is in it. Kyle Schwarber again is in it. Isn't Albert Pujols in it?
Yeah, Pujols versus Schwarber first round.
Is that okay? And then who am I missing here? Do you know
Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners
Okay.
and Corey Seager of the Texas Rangers.
Of the Rangers. Okay. So there you go. 8 players total, 4 matchups, and then they wean it down to the final 2 and obviously the Derby champion. But okay. I'm good with that. I like some of the names. How many home runs do you think Albert Pujols hits?
How much time do they have? 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
Something like that in that first round.
2?
I'm going to say 7. 7 early on for Pujols. Who advances? Kyle Schwarber or Albert Pujols?
That's like when you put a 16 seed against a 1 in the NCAA tournament.
Right?
It's just a shoe into the next round. I feel bad for Pujols. He has to go up against Schwarber.
Yeah.
One might say it could taint his legacy.
Yeah, like that's the one thing. Albert Pujols has survived a lot of rumors and innuendos and really never addressed anything. And it's just been like, whatever. And he never has dignified anything, hasn't he? Because they were talking about the possibility of steroids and PEDs at one point, and then they were talking about his actual age at another point, and he just kind of went, whatever, and just kept on hitting home runs, kept on playing the game. Because I mean, obviously when he went out to the Angels, his production significantly dropped off, but he just kind of went, whatever. And then as testing became more and more sophisticated for Major League Baseball, a lot of people said, well, he was the byproduct of that. That's the reason his power numbers dropped. Or you could look at it and say, well, he's really not his age, therefore his power numbers dropped. But he was a guy that made a lot of money, went out to LA, just like a lot of others have. And the Angels were just never amounted to anything. But Albert Pujols, I don't know if we really know his actual age or not. At least that's been the rumor for years and years and years. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead. Haven't the Angels kind of become baseball's live tour in a way? Yeah, they've paid a lot of money to a lot of people, and it's still a crap show. And they got Joe Madden run out of town, and it's still a crap show. And they've got a couple of the top 20 best players in the game playing for them, and they can't win consistently. That's where great careers go to die, I guess. Right? My point. Yeah. Just, with moral differences. Pac fan says you're good with Pujols being in it. Give me a break. Why? Who else you want to put in there? Who else says I want to do it? And players that have gone on to be in it and have won it, or players that have gone on to be in it have had the tradition is, or the argument is that it screws up your swing, and players go on to have a lesser, season because of it, and whatever. I don't mind it. There's nostalgia there. Is there a better matchup you would like to see? If you're going to say that, Pac fan, give me a matchup you would rather see. That's what I would like to know. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
I hate being late to the ballpark. You just missed a home run. Gina Della for Pella. I can't believe believe my seat is next to yours. Peanut? I'm allergic to them. Ah, nuts. You know, I'm always late to things. No one procrastinates like me. The worst is that I missed out on that incredible deal you were offering at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Missed what? It just started. Get beautiful Pella windows and pay no interest for 4 years. That's the one. Imagine the money you'd save by not paying interest for 4 years. Okay. Don't rub it in. Rub what in? The deal just started at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Seriously? Yep. You're just making an exception because you feel bad for me. No, for real. It's hard to believe that a deal this good exists, but it does. You just missed another home run? Oh, this is too important. I'm trying to find the website on my phone. It's PellaWI.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Hey, our friends at Cunis RV. They're the home of the big unit cruiser and Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealer. Your travel and camping experts. If you were looking for a motorhome, a fifth wheel, camper van, travel trailer, Cunis, they got you covered. Stopping down to pick up back up the RV on Thursday, as a matter of fact, and we'll have it the rest of the summer for sure. But they represent America's most reliable and best-selling RV and camper brands, such as Coachman, Dutchman, Forest River, Gulfstream, Nexus, Thor. And I got an email over the weekend. I wanted to kind of get to this here real quick, but they have got a tremendous service department. And this came from Caroline, who said, "Hey, Bill, we arrived at Road America and prepped to set up our camper. Our campsite was on a slight hill, a little tricky. Unfortunately, our tires slid. We were trying to level the camper and bent the front jacks. A very serious situation. The entire jack system was bent and the camper was unstable. They ended up going to Cunis. We called the Cunis RV location in Cleveland, which is Sheboygan North, hoping they could help. They said, yes, stop on by. So they took the camper over there. They arrived at the service department. They met them as soon as they walked in the door, looked at it. They didn't have the specific part in stock, but they went and spoke with the general manager as they knew they were attending the WeatherTech International Challenge at Road America. They decided to remove the matching jack from a new camper they had in stock and replaced ours. And our vacation, our time at Road America was fantastic because of it. That's the kind of service they have at Cunis RV. They're that kind of people. Now, it's not going to happen all the time, but that's what they did. Cunis offering top dollar for your trade-in, also consignment and such. And if you're looking to sell your camper, they offer consignment. So I'm telling you, they're good people. And that's a tremendous, tremendous email that I got from Caroline and their family as they Cunis basically saved their camping trip at Road America. So kudos to Cunis RV. Go to Cunis, Kunes, CunisRV.com. Go to CunisRV.com. Good stuff from them. Good stuff from them. Pac fan says when he goes back to the matchup he would like to have, he said, give me Judge, Vlad Jr., Stanton. Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't those guys invited and they turned it down? I agree with you. I'd love to see that, but you got to have guys that agree to do it. Right? They're doing it for the nostalgia factor, hoping you'll watch. But didn't Judge get invited to do it? Didn't Vlad Jr. get invited to do it? Didn't they turn it down? That's the problem. Baseball can't mandate that you do it. But that's the problem. I agree with you. But I'm good with Pujols because of the nostalgia factor. And as far as the matchup between him and Schwarber, two guys that have been there, done that. But I'd love to see Judge and company do it. They just won't do it. That's part of the problem. Baseball can't mandate that you must do it. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up.
You know, we forgot to do our Should Yelich Do the Derby and Fix His Swing show. We haven't done that yet. I think there's still time. We have a segment. Should Yelich have done the Derby to then start hitting home runs again?
This would be
877.
What would the narrative be if Yelich got in the home run derby?
I don't mean to make an unnecessary joke here, but I don't know. I think Pujols might beat him.
First of all, I would agree with that. It would be the narrative would be, and I could see it now, is, oh my God, when you look at his exit velocity, even though he's hitting balls straight into the wall, his exit velocity is the highest of any major league player right now in the home run hitting contest. Oh my God, his exit velocity is amazing. His launch angle just isn't there. He just came up short. That would be what it is. Right?
Unless it fixes everything.
Unless all of a sudden he starts hitting home runs, yeah.
We'll look like geniuses.
Yes.
Well, it depends who's pitching.
Gary, you're right. Launch angle, LOL. Right, yeah. That too. But you pick your pitcher.
Right, but if he gets a Pirate to pitch to him or a Red, I think that could work, maybe. But then as long as there's no Twitter video afterwards, I think we're in good shape. That's my fright, is what if he goes off, posts a video on Twitter, and then doesn't hit a home run for another 2 years?
That's what I was going to say. What if he wins it and does the Twitter video and then doesn't hit another home run the rest of the season? And let's say he does hit home runs in the home run derby. Would we then have to count those towards his total of 15?
I think we would.
Just to get him there.
What about homers he would hit on another team if he gets traded?
Well, if he gets traded, then we'll combine home runs for wherever he plays. But let's say he gets traded to LA. So he and Cody Bellinger end up, being mired in the armpit of the world together. Or he goes to a stadium, say like
Washington, to throw a random one out.
Yeah.
That could be shopping an outfielder.
Yep. Washington, Miami, back to Miami, into that ballpark there. Yeah. Right. That ain't going to happen. Pac-Fan says it's like a slam dunk contest. Make it worth their while. Throw $5 million at the purse, and the guys are going to line up to do it. You know what? Some of these guys making $30 and $40 million a year that could do this. I don't think you're going to still not going to get some of these guys to do it. They're so protective of their swing. I wouldn't see it happening. Go ahead, Ben. What were you going to say?
I forget. It was going to be a joke about sending corrupt politicians to D.C. for Juan Soto.
Well, they're already there. That's the problem.
Find the rest of them.
877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hey, if you are going to be downtown Milwaukee anytime soon, the best Italian food you're ever going to stick in your grill is right there at San Giorgio in Calderon Club. Calderon Club's the best Italian food ever. Gino is fantastic. A well-tooled chef, and has been for a long, long time. Now they've got San Giorgio next door, the authentic Napolitana pizzeria. It is awesome. Both places fantastic. They pair it up with Cider Boys from Point Brewing, and you got yourself one hell of a meal. So stop down to Calderon Club or San Giorgio and tell them we said hi. But man, they do it right down there. By all means, they do it right. And every now and then you see Joe Martino, who owns Point Brewing, as a matter of fact. Saw Joe down there a couple of times, grubbing down. So he's a fan favorite down there for sure. But San Giorgio and Calderon Club, nothing better. When we come back real quick before we get out of here, they are not graded very highly. Oh boy, they're taking a beating. I'll tell you who I'm talking about coming up next in the Bill Michaels Show.
Want to make your summer even better? Potawatomi Hotel and Casino has 500,000 ways, like winning your share of $500,000 in cash and prizes. Over 100 winners every Thursday. For your chance to win, just play with your club card July 1st through the 28th. So go ahead, book that beach vacation.
Live music and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How are we looking? Welcome back. Don't forget, coming up tonight, 6 o'clock over on Facebook Live, we are going to be doing a piece specifically on the motorcycle ride coming up for our friends at Fisher House, Wisconsin. So tonight, put it on your calendar. If you're kind of sitting around, not doing much, maybe you're getting ready to hunker down and watch the Home Run Derby, whatever, and you got a little bit of time. It's not going to be long, maybe 15 minutes, something like that. But we're going to do a Facebook Live tonight, and you can follow it simply by going to facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Facebook.com/Big Unit Poker Run. Like that page, and it'll pop up. And we're going to do that tonight coming up at 6 o'clock. Another thing that you're going to like, and that is, if you haven't done it so already, is Four Seasons Island Resort. I'm getting a lot of great feedback on the waterfall tours from up there and some of the family stuff that's been going on. I guess Lily's Ice Cream Parlor has been open and running, and just the 50s style ice cream parlor and some of the throwbacks that they have there. But I have gotten a lot of great feedback about the pool, about the fishing, about the golfing. Four Seasons Island Resort on the island in the middle of the Miscana River. On the island. It's historic. It's where the mobsters used to go years ago. And they used to kind of close the island down and have their meetings out of Chicago. And there's just a lot of history to it, a lot of cool cultural history. And if you haven't been, you can get yourself a discount. It used to be when you get a bottle of wine or a meal or whatever. Now you just flat out call them. Call the Four Seasons Island Resort or go to thefourseasonswisconsin.com, one of the two, and just tell them Bill Michaels 15 in the promo code. Bill Michaels 15. If you call them, 715-324-5800. That's 324-5800. And you want to stay for a weekend, during the week, whatever, just say Bill Michaels 15. You automatically get 15% off. Automatically. Otherwise, go to the Four Seasons Wisconsin.com. The Four FOUR Seasons Wisconsin.com. And in the promo code Bill Michaels 15. Automatic 15% off right then and there. That's not a bad way to go. So appreciate it. Before we get out of here, if the Packers fans, if you and I and everybody else together were looking for an excuse not to buy Madden 23, here you go. Rounding out the top 3 receivers by rating in the upcoming video game are Randall Cobb, ranking at 78, Alan Lazard, who received a 77 ranking, Sammy Watkins, the team's top free agent signing this offseason, signed a 1-year deal. The Packers also addressed the position in the NFL draft. They highlighted them by trading up to get Christian Watson. The rookie receives a 71, which is more than the team's 2021 third-round pick, Amari Rodgers, who earned a 69 rating. Oh, what could have been for the Packers had Adam stayed, but the Packers traded him to Las Vegas because he wanted out. And signs that deal. He was also named to the 99 club, receiving 99 rating, which is almost perfect. Devontae Adams did. So you've got Alan Lazard, Sammy Watkins, and Randall Cobb and Christian Watson all getting a ranking in the 70s. Amari Rodgers is 69. Juwan Winfrey is 67. So your highest rated wide receiver is Watkins at 79, Cobb at 78, Lazard at 77, Watson then 71, Rodgers 69, and Winfrey at 67. One of the lowest rankings when it comes to an overall unit for Madden in 2023. So if you're looking for a reason not to buy Madden, that might be it. That's what it all comes down to. Now, let me say this, okay? That rankings in a video game don't mean blank when it comes to actual play on the field. Just saying. I don't look at the Green Bay Packers and think about their successes and failures based upon what they do in Madden. Just so you know. I think there's still a lot left to be proven. I think that with Aaron Rodgers and his ability to throw the football and coming off of back-to-back MVP seasons, there's a lot there. But if you're a Madden fan and a Packers fan, you're probably thinking to yourself, this isn't going to be too good this season. So there you go. Sounds about right, though, right, Ben? Sounds about right where they should be.
Yeah, I think some of them are a little bit too highly ranked. But
yeah, well, that too. But do you think they get higher rankings because they're with Aaron Rodgers? Of course they do.
I think they get higher rankings because they're the only ones on the team.
Well, that's true too.
Like if Devontae was there, they wouldn't have Sammy Watkins as a 70 whatever. I don't know.
Here's one from Brandon over on the Bud Light live stream, and he says, I wonder what the television ratings are going to be tonight for the All-Star game. When it's over, can you tell us? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're going to have the Nielsen ratings out. I'm sure it'll come out either tomorrow or on Wednesday to let us know what the All-Star game rankings were. But, and for the Home Run Derby as well. But baseball has been somewhat on the decline, although in some of the larger markets between LA and New York, they've been up. And that's because the Dodgers have been playing such good baseball, and so have the Yankees. So I understand it. But like Chicago, down. Some of the bigger markets are down. San Francisco is obviously doing well, but they have so much else to do out in San Fran. The ratings have never been like skyrocketing there. But the ratings for Major League Baseball's All-Star game tonight, we'll wait and see. The National Pastimes Midsummer Classic. There is a romance to baseball. So I'm looking forward to it tonight. Sitting down, taking it easy, doing a little work. I got some work to do tonight, so I'm going to throw the laptop on my lap and kick my feet up and watch the game and enjoy it. I'm looking forward to it, but we'll see. What do we got coming up tomorrow? Just talking about the home run derby, a little more Brewers chatter tomorrow. You know what? Patty says, have you talked at all about the friendly coming up at Lambeau Field? No, I haven't. As much as I appreciate the fact that it's getting a lot of advertisement because it's going to be played at Lambeau Field, I'm yawn. Doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I got some friends that were going to go, I guess. But Ben, are you fired up for the friendly that's coming up at Lambeau Field this weekend?
Is that this weekend?
There you go. There you go. There you go. Enough said right there. The younger generation of the television show, the younger generation of the radio show, of our video stream, Ben Kenny. I didn't even know we had a game coming up. There you go. So,
I'm watching the Adaptive Open, Bill. I have priorities.
You know what? I saw that earlier today. I was flipping through and saw the Golf Channel. I saw that it was on there. There you go. All right. That's it. Glad to